Controlled Chaos here. I am with Draco, a player of Stars Reach, and we're going to talk about gaming in Stars Reach. How are you doing today, Draco?
I am doing well, Control. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. So, what I want to know is when did you first get into video games? What was your first system and what got you into them?
Oh boy. Uh, well, I don't remember exactly my age. I just remember being young and going to the local arcade with my friends.
Hmm.
And that kind of first got me into video games, the old arcade style, Pac-Man and all that. But my first home system console was called an Intellivision. I'm not sure if all of them will understand that. But it
Yeah.
was basically, it could play Pong.
Uh-huh. I remember
If you understand.
that.
Yeah. And then, of course, I've played almost every system since then. I've been an avid PC gamer on and off throughout the years. And uh, I would say it was probably going on 40 plus years that I've been gaming.
Cool. Yeah, mine's going on about 40 plus years too. Because I started back in the first, I remember the arcades like you're talking about, where we go and just spin quarters, or I don't know if you have them where you live, but where I live, we have these arcade called Wonderland. And it would be
We
a
did. We had one
nickel
of
a
those.
game.
Yeah.
And we had a really cool Wonderland in the major city near where I lived, where it was an arcade and a movie theater. And they had these tables at each area or cabinet because they also served food. So my dad used to take me there and we would watch a movie, play games, and eat food for like 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Insanely
That-
fun. And that arcade is still open. I gotta do a video on that arcade. It's an amazing arcade. Very fun.
yeah, I'd like to see that.
But anyways, going on from there, what are your favorite genres of games? Is it first person shooters? Is it turn based strategy, RPGs?
Well, my first love is role playing game.
Mm-hmm.
My very first game I fell in love with and was addicted to and stayed up until I defeated the game was Final Fantasy, the original.
Mm-hmm.
So that, along with being uh, taught at the same time about Dungeons and Dragons tabletop game, that inspired the fantasy role play game. So that is always my first love. Over the years, it's changed. First person shooters, real time strategies, platformers, even the what was it? The Castlevania, as a platformer.
Yeah.
But that also kind of hit into my RPG love. And of course, sim games like Sim City, The Sims. I really kind of played it all. My current favorite, of course, is survival games with crafting and base building.
Oh yeah, I'm really hooked on that genre right now too. I really love it. I play like the Raft and Ark and Valheim. No Man's Sky hits that a bit and stuff like that. And so that sort of rolls into somewhat of what Stars Reach is about because it's got heavy crafting. It's a sandbox MMO. Who knows if they're going to throw in some survival mechanics because they're still adding mechanics due to being pre-alpha. But what caught your interest in Stars Reach?
Well, I saw it back about, I want to say, November of last year. And
Mhm.
I had just got done doing some No Man's Sky stuff, so I was still interested in kind of a space type game like that. And I saw that was in Kickstarter, so I decided, what, it would be fun to back this and see how they approach everything as far as the crafting and base building and the exploration of it.
Okay, so What was it? Just the idea behind it? Was it the people behind it that made you back the Kickstarter?
Yeah, it was more the idea than the people. I really didn't get, into like the gaming developers or any of that until after I backed it. Yeah, it's just the idea of it sounded different, and like I said, it wasn't just didn't seem like one of those cookie cutter type games,
Hmm.
where they're trying to copy someone else. They wanted to be innovative, and that's one thing I look for in most of my games is something fresh and innovative.
So you're not the type of person that goes from one Call of Duty to the next, to the next, to the next. You want to see something completely different, something new in the gaming industry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do uh, like certain games that go on, not like Call of Duty does, because to me that just seems like every iteration of it is just a reskin and different maps and stuff. It's like if you're going to do that, just call it the original Call of Duty extended version or
Yeah, do
something.
an expansion or something. And I
Yeah,
100% agree with you on that. I'm sick of these games doing, it's like the FIFA games. Changing
right.
up the rosters and stuff like that, that's stat numbers. They're not adding any new
Mhm.
gameplay mechanics. They're not majorly changing the code. They may be every so often updating the graphics, but behind every year, they could just come out with a small a DLC or an expansion to stack
Exactly.
onto the game instead of doing that. Or, in all honesty, those games should go live service and every year, okay, here's new add-ons to it.
Yep. Yep. I
Instead
and
of
uh,
that $60 price tag for pretty much a majority of the code being the same.
exactly. And I was going to say, and you know as well as I do, that they could very easily change rosters and the stats like that without selling a whole new game.
Oh yeah.
Just sell it like half price for DLC. I mean, games do that all the time now.
Exactly. And that's the thing. So let's get back to Stars Reach. With Stars Reach, I'm pretty sure since you backed it, I take it you at least got the Reacher tier.
Yes. Yeah. I
So
wanted to get the Reacher tier.
okay, so now that you actually got the Reacher tier and that gets you into the game, how shocked were you with where they're at the game? Was it a good shock? Was it a bad shock? And what do you think of their process of how often they're updating?
Well, since I've started doing the play tests, it's been more of a casual thing, but I have to say it did take me a bit by shock. The way they are doing the crafting systems and
Hmm.
the exploration, like the surveying, and you use your tool to survey and you find different points and you get different experience. And to speak about the experience briefly, is I like that the way they've done that system as well. It's not just, oh, you've done this, say like in most MMOs or role playing games, you get experience for doing the same experience for doing different things. So
Hmm.
like if you craft something, you get experience. If you kill something, you get experience. It's all just that one thing. And I've noticed that with Stars Reach, they actually categorize it and you can spend those experience points in that category but not the other, so you have to do the different things like surveying, crafting, your food crafting, and um what's the other one, the harvesting for your plants and stuff.
Hmm.
And once I got into that, I was sold. I was like, geez, like kind of wish I had more money at the time to back it even more.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm invested in the game because of those things. But when you actually found out who the developers are behind this game and the games that they worked on in the past, what were your thoughts on that? And which of the developers really sort of surprised you the most?
Well, I would have to say that once, I looked into the developers and the team behind it. I was kind of shocked at some of the other, things they've done, because I played some of those, if not quite a few. And as far as the one that most shocked me, um, I think I'd have to go with Dave Jorgensen.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
He kind of took me out of left field, for seeing what he's done, and then he's involved with this. It's like, wow, okay,
yeah. See,
let's go.
I actually know the reason why he joined this project.
Oh yeah,
and the reason he joined this project was because he was the lead on EverQuest Next and Landmark, and because that got canceled, which he was very upset about. He was wanting to scratch that itch to do a game that had that sort of manipulating of the terrain and crafting being important and stuff like that. And that's why he joined Stars Reach.
Well, you mentioned EverQuest, and that was the EverQuest Next or whatever. Yeah. EverQuest was my very first MMORPG. So, like I said, that really shocked me that, he was in something I've been in before. And now, I'm kind of reconnecting with his work.
Yeah, well, here's a question for you. Have you ever played any of the Tribes games? The first-person shooter?
I have not.
Okay, have you played PlanetSide?
Yes, I have played PlanetSide.
He was the lead developer behind PlanetSide.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So PvP in this, I'm hoping will be very interesting just because of that. So
yeah.
With that being said, as I mentioned earlier, what are your thoughts on how often they're updating and adding to the game?
My thoughts on that are kind of a twofold thing.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's good to see that they're on top of things and listening to the community and, taking that input and implementing it at kind of a steady rate. But the second part of that is, are they going to be able to do that, long term? Because it seems like, as you probably experienced most games like this, in the long run, it kind of starts that, downhill slope. Might go from once or twice a week to, once every other week or once a month or something. And I'm hoping it doesn't do that. I'm hoping they keep up with it, because it will be such a fun game. I've had so much fun in it, and I think it could be something that could basically break into the gaming community as something new, like EverQuest did, and it will be here 10 years from now. We'll still be playing Stars Reach in 2040.
Oh yeah, and I agree with you, and I think that I don't think they need to do as quick of updates as they're doing when it goes live. I think the reason why they're doing this is because they want to get the game to live. I think after live, I'd be happy to see an update like every 6 weeks, every other month, new content added in. Because what keeps, for me, an MMO alive, there's two things. One, the community, the players playing the game and interacting with one another and sticking around for the friends that they made. The other thing that helps keep the game alive for me is constant updates. Look at EverQuest. EverQuest is like done over 30 expansions, and they're still running to this day. Look at all the other dead MMOs or MMOs that are on maintenance. What are they doing? No expansions, no adding of new zones, new skills, new classes, or anything. They're just dead. And so there's no reason for players to go to that game if there's nothing new for them to experience.
Exactly. Or in the other turn of, they do get a new experience, but it's basically a rinse, wash, and recycled version of what they've just done.
Yeah. And that's where I think the simulation that they have going on for the world is really sort of nice, because they can take this big pile of a bunch of different things and mishmash them together to make these different worlds and different terrains, different biomes and stuff like that with different vegetation is really interesting to me. And that, hopefully they'll add more and more and more onto that, because that will be really nice. What I want to know is, what's your favorite thing to do in Stars Reach right now when you play?
I am kind of liking that wormhole update. I think that's kind of fun. And I didn't know until you had mentioned it while we were talking before, was that each time they bring that up, that it's a different world. I mean, you don't see games doing things like that. And like you said, different vegetation on different worlds. And, there's also not too many games that will allow you to manipulate their world. So to me, that's another, very fascinating thing, is that we, the players, are actually going to shape this planet. It's going to have tunnels that we dug out, or or cave systems that we've dug out, or, all of that type of stuff. And, that to me is just amazing, because they're not doing it with just one planet, they're doing it with several.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very interesting and very fun. And with that being said, what do you think of how they're planning on doing the politics system of, when you're a governor of a planet, you get to set up the laws of different things, like how much can be mined, and whether it's a PvP plant or not PvP plant, and players actually having control over a plant like that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because the game to me has that crafting building part, but to throw in this political thing, which to me is sort of like you would find in a simulation game, where you get to decide, okay, this is how much we're going to produce, like you said, and this is how much we're going to import or export of this and that and blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's ever been, those two things have ever been done together,
They actually have, but it was on a far smaller scale. Star Wars Galaxies. Right. Star Wars Galaxies, you could become mayor of a city, and you could set up the laws and rules of that city, and taxation and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right there. But that, again, like you said, was a small scale. I'm thinking the big scale, the overall thing. It almost seems like it could have been two different games, two different full games being pushed together, well, not pushed together, but being integrated together, to make this unique player experience. I mean, how can you not love the fact that you're getting kind of two game genres in one?
Oh, you're getting more than that. And
right, but I mean, in those two aspects.
Exactly. Yes, and I agree with you. Now, with that, and you said you play a lot of MMOs. Do you normally craft items in MMOs? Do you normally harvest in MMOs? Or do you just go out and fight things and get loot?
Well, it depends. If I'm doing solo MMO, like if none of my other friends are interested, but I want to, see what it's about, I usually do a little bit of everything. You have to as a solo player. But in games where
really, you can go through EverQuest and never really craft, except for when it comes to getting like your class armors and your epic. The rest of the time, you can just go out there and find the monster that has a weapon that you're interested in, or the armor you have, and then take it. So, games like that and World of Warcraft, crafting isn't a necessity.
Right.
So,
right. But I also don't look at those games as like crafting games.
Mm.
So I guess, yeah, they are. They have the crafting aspect.
So
And you're 100% right.
with you saying that, yeah, they don't have a crafting aspect, they don't have a reason for the crafting. What do you think of the crafting and the direction they're going with crafting in Stars Reach? Does it impress you
You know,
more or no?
it does impress me. Uh, I mean, every game is going to have its differences, right? Because they don't want to be seen as such and such a game. Like I'm sure Stars Reach doesn't want to be seen like Ark or No Man's Sky in the crafting departments. So I'm really liking the way they do it now. And yeah, there could be some improvements, but I mean, overall, I'm liking it. And to get back a little bit to your other question is for me, I like to gather materials, and of course, when it's a base building game, I like to do the base building as well. But yeah, I like the gathering of materials and crafting slash base building.
Okay. And the reason I bring this up is because everything in the game is going to be made by players. You need a weapon, you need clothing. It has to be made by players.
Yeah,
Nothing, nothing drops by mobs. It's only resources that drop by mobs.
that's one of the things I'm most excited about because, like as you said, in other games like EverQuest or World of Warcraft, you can either craft something or you can go out and farm the mob for that item, which is kind of fun, but it's not because, as you and I both know, that people are people, and people are greedy and selfish, and they won't share those camps or whatever if it's just like a single mob.
Yep.
But this, with Stars Reach being that everything is player made, that all, like, I could just go out and farm up the materials and bring them to you and be like, hey, I know this is what you do. Can you help me out? Or, here's some of the materials or whatever. I think that's going to be the thing that puts the game, up above some of the others, because it is going to create a community. Because, a new game like, well, a newer game like Pantheon was supposed to be all about, grouping and collaboration and stuff, but it's still got that sort of style of EverQuest slash World of Warcraft that, yeah, okay, I can find somebody or have a friend that can do, fletching and make me a bow, or I can go out and do this mob. Why not just go out and kill the mob?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, with Stars Reach, you're not going to be able to do that. So it's going to bring that community net closer. We're going to make I feel we're going to make stronger connections. It's going to be like the early days of EverQuest,
Yeah.
where people were helping each other out. People were selling bags to each other. People were selling the mats to the people who are making the bags and stuff, because that's what made me fall in love with a game like EverQuest, was that you had to have other people. You had to have that contact with other people, and it made it fun, made it the more social thing, and the economy in the game itself was great. I mean, there was money flying everywhere, so to speak.
Yes, there was. And you bring up a great example, because I remember before there were bazaars in EverQuest. We took the tunnel in
Yep.
East Commons and turned that into a bazaar area.
Yeah.
And that was just fun. That was building communities. And we're seeing sort of that kind of thing happen in this game slowly. And it's only in pre-alpha that I really like that. What I want to know now is, let's talk, instead of talking about what's in the game, let's talk about what's coming for the future of the game. What is a skill set that you are looking forward to in Stars Reach?
That's a tough one, because I I kind of am in the enjoyment of getting surprised about what they do. I'm not looking at, all the potential what ifs they're going to do. I've been kind of shying away from that, because I like that surprise element. Like, oh my God, they did Wild Wormholes thing. This, is great. It's something something new I don't understand or whatever, type thing. So, I
Well,
mean, as far as what.
spoiler warning for you. I'm going to tell you what my
Okay.
favorite skills tree is that I'm looking forward to. Journalism.
Oh, see, now that is something that
Journalism
I wouldn't have expected.
is going to be very interesting. It depends on whether or not they can get the APIs from YouTube and Twitch. If they're able to get the
Yep.
APIs from YouTube and Twitch, what RAF really wants to do is make the journalism class work off of your YouTube channel or your Twitch channel. And the more viewers you get coming in to watch the Stars Reach stuff, the more experience you gain.
Yeah,
And
that is
they plan
something.
on having cool skills like a remote control camera drone so you can get those far away third person shots without all the UI display and stuff like that.
Yeah, that sounds, you know, fabulous because it's basically from I'm a business oriented person. I went to college for my business management
Mm-hmm.
degree, and from that aspect is I think that's a great thing for them to be adding because the collaboration between YouTube and Twitch is just going to make you know the community want to play even more and interact even more. It's going to, again, another aspect of that social web that I mentioned, and tightening it up so that it will interest not only maybe just us gamers that are looking for something new, but it will excite the you know other gamers who are looking for the things they're familiar with, because
Mm-hmm.
both of us being content creators, we understand that. So bringing that into the game is another aspect, and I tell you, if they do that, that will blow my mind.
Well, and it would be really cool if they do that in some way, fashion, or form, because we got other players like Toster, who he writes up these
Mhm.
fictional bits of travel logs and stuff like that. We have Dr. Drake, who is in the Gunk Guild, who does these videos showcasing these wild wormhole planets and documenting the planets and flora and fauna and stuff like that I think is really
Mhm.
interesting, because not only do they do videos on that, they also have a wiki going over all this stuff. And to actually be able to plug that into the game to where you can go to someone's house and they can create a library of their works, and you can sit there and
Yep.
read fictional books or news blogs that they've done about the game and stuff like that, or maybe
Yeah.
even go to like your place and interact with this monitor that would show your YouTube videos while in game, would be really, really interesting. And the more and more people that are doing that, the more experience you're getting. And that's the thing I really like about Stars Reach, is that it gives you, doing something solo gives you a small chunk of experience. The more people that do that something, the more experience you get from them. And
Yep.
that's, one of the examples they give is in crafting. Yeah, you're getting a small amount of experience for crafting that experience. Where the bulk of the experience is going to come from is the number of people using your item. So, like, let's say you make an Omni Blaster that's really good, and a lot of people are using your Omni Blaster. Every time they use your Omni Blaster, you're getting experience, a small little drip of experience from each player using your Omni Blaster.
Yeah, I think that's a very unique way of doing like a shared experience thing,
Mm-hmm.
because as you and I know, usually in games when you are grouped up, in a party, or like raiding something or crafting something, like in art, you get your experience for crafting as well. Uh, that shared experience is kind of nice because it's kind of a passive thing. and the way that they're doing it in Stars Reach, when I saw that that was what was happening, I was just amazed. I was like, wow. So they created it that, okay, like you said, you have to get the surveyor item from another player. And when you get that item from them and you're using it, you get the XP for using it, but they get like a percentage as well. I think that's amazing. I'm like, I really am just kind of mind blown by this game, and I'm really interested to see how it takes off when it does go live.
Mhm. Yeah, and so am I. I'm really excited about that. Now, you said that you like building bases. So, with that being said, they're planning on putting in sort of a blueprint system where you can sell the blueprints of bases made. Are you planning on becoming like an architect in the game when it releases? What are your plans for release? What do you plan on doing profession wise on release?
So you've hit the nail on the head, as they say. I learned about that blueprint system and selling blueprints. And in part of my high schooling, I went to I don't want to say like a college, but kind of uh, oh, what do they call it? The schools where you do like automotive repair or
Trade school?
this or that. Trade school, thank you. Yeah, so when I was in high school, I went to a trade school for like half my day.
Mm-hmm.
And the trade I picked up was architectural drafting, which I aced and I loved doing it, which is kind of why I like the base building aspects, because I like to be able to take my creativity and, put it into the game and let people see it. So to be able to do something like that, but add in the effect that I can then take that blue as a blueprint and sell it, in game is very, very, top of the list for me. So, uh, just to kind of go over about how good I was when I did go to that trade school in my last year, in my senior year of high school, they have a competition, and the carpentry class will build whatever we design, which is funded by the local Elks Club.
Mm-hmm.
And the local Elks Club picked my team, which was me and one other person, as the design to build.
Oh,
So
nice.
I actually have a small modular home that was built and sold somewhere here in my hometown.
Oh, that's cool. Was that
Yeah.
you that bought it? I mean,
No, I wished I had the money to buy it. It was the specifications for it was a 2-bedroom house,
Mhm.
modular home. And it was quite unique. It like even the Elks Club, because they brought us to do a presentation in front of them.
Mhm.
And so we went to a dinner, just like as if we were in a business, and we explained the whole thing over. And they were just amazed at the concepts that me and my partner put into it, because they hadn't seen some of those things before. They're like, you can do that and, have the construction build it. And I'm like, absolutely. These, would be so easy and stuff. Instead of building just a box of a house, we added some curves to it and some cuts to it. And they loved the fact that it wasn't just a box house, which is why they wanted to back it and have, that created that year.
Okay, well, that's really cool. So, what you said that you're casually playing Stars Reach right now. Are you planning on diving deeper into Stars Reach? And if so, when are your plans to dive deep into Stars Reach? Or is it going to stay a casual game for you?
I think for now it's going to stay casual. Uh, uh, when will I dive deep into it? Because I probably will dive deep into it. I do most of my games, as you know, by Dune Awakening.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, probably when they get that system in where I can blueprint my builds and uh, sell it, because doing something like that in a crafting base building game it takes time because you got to
Yeah.
get the materials. You got to set it up, and if you make a mistake, you kind of have to adjust or edit it or whatever. So the whole base building aspect is going to, and the selling of the blueprints, the architectural aspect there is going to pull me in even deeper to the game, which I can't wait for because that's where I enjoy and thrive.
Yeah, they're getting there step by step. I think the next thing they need to do
Mhm.
is get in the economy aspect of it, of course. They got to throw
Yep.
that in. They need to get in the artisan aspect where you can customize things stat wise and visually. And then, of course,
Yep.
some more building pieces you probably sort of like to see added to the game and then the blueprint system overall. And then you're going to jump in head deep. My last question for you is, what are some base building pieces that you'd like to see put into the game?
So, well, as I said, I don't like to build boxes. If I have to, I can, but I like to try and make unique, different things. Like in Arc, there's this one build I make. I call it my mansion, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks like almost a replica of what you would think a mansion would look like. It's got the entryway with a couple of wings on it. One wing is like the dining kitchen and, wing and stuff, and so on and so forth. And I don't build those necessarily as squares or, anything like that. Like I like the different sloped roofs of like, 30 degrees and 40 degrees and the aspect of having the connection pieces of the roof so that if you have one going, if you have one roof going one way, but you want it to connect to another roof to turn a corner, those are the pieces that I like to play around with, those pieces that people only think are just, okay, we'll just use it for this. I like to use it for a lot of different other things, instead of making curves the way you would think in a game is I'll take and switch it up and turn it around or the different angles and stuff. Um, you know, some of my inspiration is things that I think of on my own, and some of it is inspiration I see others doing, and some of it is what I see, for inspiration in the real architectural community. So I kind of like mix that together to create my own thing, and that's that's what's going to be what I want. I want those unique, building pieces that will make uh, everyone's build look different.
Yeah, definitely. And have you actually built any homesteads in Stars Reach yet?
I have. I built technically I built three, but I used two of them as gardens. I use one as a tree garden so I can collect more wood, and then I use another as like a food garden. But my main homestead, you should come and check out sometime, and maybe we'll get it on a recording,
What
and
what
you
what
can.
planet is it on?
Oh, I don't remember the name of the planet.
Okay, what's the biome?
Uh, the biome is kind of like I want to say the blue glowy trees that light up
Okay.
at night.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know what they're calling that biome, but I want to say it's more like kind of a plainsy biome.
G biome. I'm trying to think. Maybe Rhodian?
Rhodian sounds
Uh,
correct.
we'll have to take a look. But anyways, I want to
Yeah.
thank you, Draco, for your time in this interview, and have a great night, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, and good night, everyone.